Hey everyone, Brooke here. I hope wherever you are in the world today is treating you well. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about a discussion that one of my subscribers actually started with me on Instagram. I post on Instagram pretty frequently. I try to be on top of that app, but I'm not always by my smartphone. But I do post on Instagram, and I posted a story that a subscriber of mine responded to, and they said pretty much, how do you manage working full-time and juggling a family? I feel like this was a really good idea, or topic rather, for a video, because I know many people are in my situation that are juggling the same thing. It might look a little differently, but a lot of people, especially in 2023, are wearing many hats. But before I jump into today's topic, I do want to say, if you don't follow me on Instagram, do check me out at Meet Brooke. Brooke is spelled with 2 E's because I couldn't snag the one with the 1 E. I like to engage with people who follow me. Maybe they're other tradeswomen, maybe they're people that just enjoy my videos, maybe they love animals, maybe they follow me on YouTube. That is a great way to continue the discussion from videos that I post. Maybe you're not comfortable leaving public comments. You can always shoot me a DM and I'm more than happy to get back to you. But this discussion started on Instagram, and I really didn't know how to answer it because I never looked at myself as someone who was like big into time management. I always struggled with that. I struggle with a lot of things, like many people do, right? And one of them is I'm always wearing too many hats. So in this video, I'm just going to share what I do in my life to make my day, my week, my month ahead roll a little smoother, and how I juggle everything to the best of my ability. So if you like videos like this, please do leave a comment in the comment section below and introduce yourself. Let me know where you're at in your journey, and I look forward to seeing you around the channel. But with that said, let me jump into today's video. So when I initially got this comment in my DMs, I was flattered because I was like, oh, thank you, you know? But then on the other hand, I'm like, well, you only see what I post, right? You don't see the hot mess that's behind it. But I will say, when I really thought about it, I really do have things in place to help make my schedule run a little more smoothly. I will say the first thing is that, just to give you guys a background, if you're new to this channel, I am a very busy woman. I'm a busy mom to 3 daughters. I work for the union, for the plumbers union here on Long Island, and I go to trade school at night. And I also manage, you know, my household. I just have a lot going on in my life, like many other people do. What I do, though, to make sure everything runs smoothly, specifically because I don't have a lot of time in my day. I work in over an hour away from my job, that's right here, and then my kids go to school at like 45 minutes from my house, over an hour from where I work. So I'm constantly running around. My husband helps as much as he can. He takes the kids to school in the morning, but the rest is on me. Of course, like, you know, also pertaining to school, going to school twice a week. It's a lot. It's back to back. It's a lot. And I really, when I was going into, like, you know, having a crazy schedule, from having a busy schedule with my business, but then, you know, a schedule that wasn't managed by me, right? It wasn't like I could really move my schedule around because I work for someone else. So it's very rigid, my schedule. But when I was first going into it, I really felt like the most important thing when juggling everything, when wearing many hats, is to find the reason why you're doing that, you know? It's a lot of times it's for finances. Like for me, I wanted to have a more stable income. I wanted to have benefits for my family. I wanted to learn a skill set that I can use, I could grow with, like starting my own business. I want to start my own plumbing contracting business, and you know, specifically with the union. But that takes a lot of work, that takes a lot of education, that takes a lot of time. So I was looking at it that way. And then another thing was for my kids. I want to do it for my family. I want to, you know, leave something to my children one day. I want them to have a nice life. I grew up very poor. I grew up rich in family. I'm very close with my family. My father always used to say, he was like, you know, we may not have much, but we have each other, you know? So I always carry that with me. But I wanted to have more stability in my life. And even when I had my business, it was a lot of times it was feast and famine, and I wasn't running it appropriately and all that stuff. So this schedule that I have was really important to, you know, to my family, to who I am, to what I wanted to do in my career and my future. So that was the first thing, is to just staying present and focusing on why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. Because if you don't have a reason why you're so chaotic, so busy, you know, it's not about just making your boss rich or just paying bills, right? Because obviously we need to pay bills, we need to put food on the table. There's gotta be something more than that. At least that's what helps me continue the drive, right? To continue to be motivated, to want to push further, to really tackle, you know, the life that I want, to be completely honest. So that, push that to the side. That's a little more philosophical. It is very important in my opinion. But the first thing I would say, aside from that, that I do that's tangible is meal prep. I am big on meal prepping. I'm not perfect. My cousin and his wife, they're like killer meal preppers, like to the penny, you know, like to what they spend. Every single ingredient in their house is accounted for. I wanted to really get into meal prepping, because the thing is with meal planning is that when you are organized and have a day of the week where you go shopping and you collect all the meals for the day, right? Or the week rather. It's easier as the week is busy, and as you go through the week, you're like, okay, great. I don't have to worry about dinner tonight. I get home, I know what I'm making. Or, you know, for my kids' lunches, I know what they're having. I know what they're gonna have for breakfast. I know what the snacks they're gonna have to nosh on when I'm not here. That, you know, this, that, and a third, that kind of thing. So it just makes my life a lot easier. Another thing is it helps with budgeting. I'm very poor at budgeting. I am not good at budgeting. I always feel like, you know, money will slip through my hands. I have bills to pay. But when I started to budget, like, and I'm like a novice in budgeting. I'm very, you know, much of a newbie. I found that meal planning and recording what I'm buying, what I'm paying, how I'm paying, where I'm shopping, you know, really keeping track of things, it started to have a domino effect. And I will say that this is my 2023. It's a little banged up because I use this all the time. This is my meal planner, and it's also my budget planner. It's not like a full budget. It's not like all my bills and everything like that. That's in another planner. But this does help me record everything that I buy, all of my meal prepping, and it just helps me stay on, you know, on target. So like, let's say, okay, so for example, like you have August, right? And you have all the days of the week. So what I do is I use this a lot of times to record everything that I need for this week. So so that's what I do for like my meal planning. And then on the back, I have there's like notes. I'll like write my bills and things like that, and I'll just really try to keep a ledger. But if you're wondering how does this help with time management, it's amazing, because this saves me a lot of time. It saves me money throughout the week, because I'm not just going on a limb and going to like Whole Foods or going to Cornucopia or just going to random places, you know, spending 50, 60 bucks at a pop. It's just kind of slipping through my head, and I'm not, you know, things are being accounted for, and I'm saving that time as well, because again, I live far from everything, every, you know, store that I frequent. So that really helps me stay on top of my household when it comes to food, and that being, you know, obviously I have 3 kids, so they eat a lot, you know. It really helps me stay on top of that schedule. I'm not perfect at it, like I said, you know, some weeks are better than others, but having a journal is something that's really, really important for me, meal planning specifically. And that kind of bleeds into another similar topic, but I also carry something called a Hobonichi. I have a bunch of papers, and so I'm not gonna open this, but this is a Hobonichi planner. This is actually from the same line. It's a Japanese brand of journaling, or planners rather, that has this type of paper called Tomy River paper. It's a very, very thin paper, so you can fit a lot of stuff in here. So this is like, you know, as you can see, like this is very thin. It's a whole year's worth of, you know, information. And then plus the calendars and things like that. And I try to make it a point to write in this every single day. I really learned that from the late Jim Rohn. He was a philosopher, an American businessman, and he talked a lot about recording your day. It has more to do with personal development, but really for me, it's like, you know, I am in a very busy time in my life. If my life goes according to plan, I will be on a Costa Rican beach at some point, you know, just sipping some water, eating bananas, and just, you know, reflecting on my life, right? But every single day that happens from now until then, it's passing us by. So I love to record every day, and when I miss a day, I get really bummed about it. Another thing is too, is that like, especially having kids, you know, sometimes I'll hear something, oh, I have an appointment, you know, on this day, or I'm doing, you know, something for the school on this day, or I have theater, or I have whatever. Like, I record everything. When I feel that I have a hold of my schedule and it's not just being tossed in like a phone, which I know a lot of people use the calendar app and it works for them, but for me, it doesn't really work because I don't really use an iPhone like that. I need to write it down. And it's just, when I write things down, I remember them, and it really helps me feel like I'm in control. So The meal planning, the journaling, recording my day, being on top of my schedule, these are a big, big help for me. Another thing is that I also have lately, in the last year, been making it a point to get more sleep. I struggle a lot with sleep. Most of my life, I would stay up late, especially when I was in high school, when I was working. I think it probably started then, to be honest with you. I was going to school I was a high school student, and then for half the day, and then the other half I was welding, because I was in a welding work study program through BOCES in New York. And then at night, I worked at a pizza spot for like 3 years. So a lot of times my shifts would be like from 4 to 12 or 6 to 2, and I was a high school student. So I learned to stay up late and then wake up early. And I feel like I've never kind of lost that grind. So it's been difficult. It's definitely been difficult to snap out of that. But as of late, I realized how important my sleep was. So the biggest thing that I do as well to keep track of, or to keep on top of my life and my schedule and really making things flow, is to make sure that I'm getting enough sleep. Something that I still struggle with, I still don't get enough sleep. Some days I might get 4.5 hours, some days I might get 6 hours. Going to school at night's difficult, but I do try to make good habits. Going to sleep early and then waking up early. And also that kind of runs into adding more time to your day. So if you wake up early, if I have to leave my house at 5:45, I try to wake up at 3:45 or 4 o'clock. And then I have that extra hour, to do things like clean my home and just feel like I'm on top of stuff. You know what I mean? I hate when my kitchen's dirty when I leave the house. I hate when my floors aren't cleaned. There's little things that just drive me crazy. Laundry that's out that needs to be folded. I have time to tackle that in the morning when I wake up early. And I'm still a work in progress. For example, I just got out of work a little while ago. I just got home. My one daughter's on a trip with her school. My other daughter's at her high school. My husband's picking her up. And my little one's taking a nap. So I'm like, you know what? I have a couple minutes. I wanted to make this video and just talk about juggling things, because I think it's not as much as oh, how do you juggle? Let me see a list from A to Z. It's more or less like a mentality, and also just having some things in place that could help you wrangle your week, help you wrangle your day, so you're not losing your day. Because it really does, as time passes, it seems like, oh, 5 years passed, but how did you spend every day? You know what I mean? And that might be a little neurotic, but for me and my life and where I'm at and right now, it's important for me as a student, as a mother, as a future business owner and current apprentice, as a wife, I really need that to focus day to day, as opposed to just thinking at oh, what am I doing this week or whatever, you know what I mean? And that's what really, really helps me. So I guess to answer that subscriber back, I would say that I focus more on getting myself in a good mental state, working on my health, and then doing little habits. So obviously, these are just a couple of habits, doing the meal prepping, journaling, trying to go, work on my sleep schedule, which is so important. It really is so important. Waking up earlier, getting more out of my day, getting a good night's sleep, or as much sleep as I can get, really trying to be on top of myself, because I feel like when I have a couple core, disciplines that are in my life, then I can add on top of that. And obviously there's more things that I want to do. And I feel like, I just try to adopt things, in small steps, focusing on the day, every single day, not getting overwhelmed by focusing on the week. When I do focus on more, let's say the week or every other week, it's for meal planning. And it makes me feel like I have control. So it's like a good focusing. It's not like a stress focusing. You know what I mean? Budgeting helps as well. I'm really leaning more into that. I really have to get more into understanding, budgeting, and really just spending too much money on things, and and it happens a lot too it's like a scarcity mentality, with my kids. They don't want for anything, but I always feel like, I'll just, I just have a problem with, I buy my kids like things that they don't even need, you know what I mean? Because when we were so poor when I was a kid that I was like, oh, I need to do that. I have things that I have to work on. And oftentimes they'll be like, Mom, I have my own money. And I'm like, no, it's okay. Let me do this. I try to work on all that myself. But anyway, so I hope this kind of answers, a question that this subscriber had. Thank you so much for asking it, and thank you for the compliment, thinking that I have it all together. I just literally take it day by day. I try to have a good positive outlook, And some days are better than others. And I try to have small disciplines and then build off those disciplines to help me really roll out the rest of my, week, month, year, that kind of thing. I have a lot of goals, and I think what also keeps me motivated is that I'm just relentless when it comes to, doing the things that I want to do. Like I took, there was a period in time when I thought I was going to quit plumbing because I was like, this is just too hard. And then something just in my head, I was like, listen, like this is good for your family. Like, you like learning a trade, a skill set. How can you, make something out of this? And then the more I thought about it, I really prayed on it. I read more books on just managing businesses and things like that. And I kind of got the spark back for that. I was really burnt out with my diaper service. I was like really, and I was disappointed. I was just beat up. I just beat myself up, not really seeing that through, but I felt that I left, I exited, I did what I did, I learned what I learned, and I was able to use those skill sets towards something else. So that's what helps motivate me. That's what helps keep me in check, moving forward to continue to keep myself accountable and make videos like this. But I'm sorry I'm rambling. I'm gonna go ahead and jump in the shower and get the rest of my day together. But I do hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it. I don't know, maybe not, because I'm, all over the place, but I do hope that it was helpful to someone out there. And, wherever you are, just keep going. If you have goals, you'll hit them. You wanna have an organized life, you'll do it. You know what I mean? Just practice little disciplines, get little habits together, write in a book, write in a journal. If there's one thing I could recommend, it's to write. Write your day. Do not let your day slip you by. Don't be on a phone, scrolling forever, and because you couldn't scroll forever, right? But with your past, recording your days, this is the real scrolling. You're gonna want to look back at this one day and be like, oh, I remember this. And plus getting into writing, it's very therapeutic. I love writing. Even if it's just a Ven sesh, or even if it's just I used to write poetry a lot. I should really get back into that. I was just thinking that just literally came across my head. I write so many different things. So one thing that I love about the Hobonichi journal is that I got the English cousin. There's always these really neat little like quotes on the bottom. So I'm just gonna read this to you and then I'll end the video. But it says, I realized I wanted to photograph time. You can't see time and you can't touch it. That's why I think it's the furthest thing from our live senses, our 5 senses. But with photography, I can capture time. And this is by Miyaku Ishuichi. I don't know if I said that right. What photographers go up against. And this was for the August 29th entry. I like that, pictures record time, journals record time. Even if life is difficult, record it. That's the biggest thing too. And then you can look back. And I even look back from when I first started my apprenticeship and I'm like, wow, I came so far. I look back on the difficult days I had. I look back on all these things and I'm like, ugh, it's wild. It's wild, it goes like that. But anyway, I hope you guys all had a great day and thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope this video was helpful to you and I will check you back again on the next one. Take care, friends.